Hey guys, it's me Chandran. So today's video I will discussing if you still maybe in dilemma and confused who should you pull in 5.7. So will be between Skirk, Shenhe, Mavuika or Emilie. So yeah, in here I will usually cover like positive and negative and the recommendation of pull, including like should you pull the early constellation or the weapon, something like that. So yeah, let's get started. So let's start first with the brand new character Skirk. So Skirk in general, after playing couple days, she is indeed very strong main DPS, and right now the best team of course for her is that when you pair with Escoffier with Furina, and the last was actually flexible. I thought that you kinda need to put like Citlali as a must. No, not really. You can just take out like other lead selection. No, even Dahlia it will still work. So basically Escoffier is Furina is the one that essential. The last slot is basically flexible. And the other thing is that mostly Skirk we will play in the Hydro and Cryo teams. Rarely you will see or even people not recommend for it to play, let's say like Melt. And the good thing also about Skirk that I like, she actually can be played with different playstyle, like burst playstyle, which is mostly involving you quick swap, or the one that I enjoying the most, which is the normal attack rotation, which I feel it's more fun in general. As per the performance, Skirk indeed one of the best DPS right now if you have of course her meta team, so I can say it's kinda on par with Mavuika team. As for negative or a couple things that I want to highlight is that I think mostly Skirk the main problem is that her performance with and without Escoffier, it's really different. It's not that I say without Escoffier she become bad. Not really. She actually still pretty much can clear all the abyss. I really even show the trying teams there. She still can clears, but you can just literally see the noticeable difference right away. Like we just pair with Escoffier, it just like significantly increased like power itself, which is kinda I find like unfortunate. I'm not really a big fan something like that have a huge like literally gap between the free-to-play option and the one that you have premium. I usually like if it's just like a little bit more tame, but this one is like quite crazy difference. But again, she's still pretty much strong without like Escoffier, but there's a significant difference. And because of that too, because her kit is locking mostly with Hydro and Cryo, she kind of have like more niche trick teams in general. So yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate. There's nothing much you can play with Escoffier. Literally, if you already have the meta team like the Escoffier and Furina, you mostly almost lock with that. There's not much like other like alternative that quite competitive with that. That's basically you lock with that, which is quite unfortunate. It feels like flexible in terms of teams. But in the end, I still have my recommendation for you to pull for Skirk, which is first, if you already have Escoffier, I really recommend Skirk. She just literally amplified the whole team by a lot. Even like compared to Ayaka, Skirk just feels a lot better, especially if you already have Escoffier. So that's why if you already have Escoffier, I just really recommend take Skirk, and then yeah, you can just clear content very easily. And second, maybe you enjoy like a combo type character, because Skirk actually have a lot of different combination of the combo creation. The one that I like right now is N5 burst, N5 entry and charge attack. After that I just go full all out normal attack, and yeah, that usually I play. And there's a lot of different also variation, which is I think pretty good if you're enjoying like playing combo type character. And next one, maybe you are enjoying playing in cryo reaction, let's say like freeze especially, then Skirk can be your likings, because I know in a while like cryo feels like abandoned, almost like forgotten, but finally after Escoffier, like it feels right now Cryo already awakened from death though. And lastly, of course, if you like the character and gameplay, feel free to pull for Skirk. As for Skirk, should you pull for early constellation or signature weapon? So very depends on your stopping point. If you only aim C1, in general, signature weapon is a little bit better, and in general also better because it will buff the whole damage of Skirk itself. It simply gives you crit rate, and also if you use skill, it will buff attack and give you more crit damage. C1 still nice, not so much different with signature weapon, but it's quite special that you also need to change your rotation. And this one can only trigger when you literally absorb the Void Rift, so you need kinda do the charge attack too in order for you to see this effect. So yeah, because of that, it's not as flexible as getting signature weapon. I think in general, signature weapon is just better over C1. However, if you aim until C2, then C2 already better than signature weapon. Mostly also because you can get the 10 additional Serpent pretty good. You can stay longer, have a Ruin also getting buff, and also after use your Havoc extension. When you use skill and you use your burst, then it will buff your whole normal attack and charge attack in here. So that's pretty good. And the increase is to 70%. It's actually, that's why really good though. So in general, if I want to rank, C2 is better than signature weapon, but signature weapon is better than C1. Next character is Shenhe. Shenhe in general still pretty much a good option for the cryo support, or if you still need sub DPS in cryo. Usually you can use her in Ayaka team, even Risley. Recently in Skirk she can still, and recently you can also pair with Skirk team on the last slot, so you can put Shenhe in there and actually good. However, as per right now, it's quite hard for me to promote Shenhe because her contribution right now is not as impactful as before, like in cryo anymore, just because the competition become more and more like competitive, especially when the arrival of Escovia, and before we already have even Citlali, that for me both of these characters already even much better than Shenhe itself, make it, she just feels like a very flexible option. Like let's say you just need extra cryo, but other than that, if you want more priority, I just suggest for you to get like Citlali or Escoffier compared to Shenhe. So because of that, she just feel like secondary, like, or second layer for you to pull if you still need like cryo support. So she feels more like, in short, like kind of whatever. If you get her, sure, it's still good in the cryo, but if you don't get her, it's fine. You just prioritize Citlali or Escoffier, which is quite unfortunate. And my recommendation for you to pull for Shenhe, not much actually. I think the really main reason, if you still feel that you need a cryo support or sub DPS, or at least you still need an extra for cryo support, let's say you already pull Escoffier and you still need one more for another team, then yeah, you can pull Shenhe in here. Or maybe like the case like me, because I use Mavuika with Citlali, and Skirk I have Escoffier, but on the last slot I don't have Dahlia built yet, and I'm not really planning to build Dahlia also, and I'm enjoying more using Shenhe. So maybe you have similar case like me, then yeah, you can pull for Shenhe for that kind of purpose. And second, of course, if you like Shenhe character and gameplay, feel free to pull for her. As for Shenhe, should you pull for early Constellation or signature weapon? And for me, just go straight up for Constellation, just because her weapon is actually good, give you a bunch of attack, but the problem is that in that weapon there's no things that can compensate her requirement that need a lot of ER. So there's a chance if your artifact is just not really that good, you need to put ER sense in there, and that makes with the free-to-play choice like option weapon, let's say like Faponius, will not so much different with nature weapon, which is kind of like, I can say, not really optimized. So that's why just better to go with the Constellation. C1 also pretty much good. You can use the skill one more time, give you more ER, and also you can like quick swap in the middle to use more of this, which is still pretty much nice. As for C2, it's also pretty good. When you use your elemental burst, it will last 6 seconds longer, which is good. And also, it will increase 15% of cryo critical damage if you're in the field, which is still pretty much nice. But I just realized Escoffier C1, I think it's way too broken. 60%, this one only 15. That's how much even like Escoffier power creep Shenhe actually. So that's quite crazy too. But yeah, in general, I will prefer to go for the Constellation. Third character is Emilie. Emilie is good Dendro support, or at least can be sub DPS too, because her damage is truly pretty good as an off-fielder, and she is specialized in the burning reaction or whatever that Dendro with pyro related. She's actually really good in there, and the damage is actually good. And essentially, she become a quite important part in Kinich team. And also, even though she specialized in burning reaction, you can still play like in the normal like reaction for the Dendro itself, like Hyper Bloom, something like that. But of course, don't expect it will be good. It's just like alright, it's just decent. Of course, using Nahida will be much better, but it's still pretty much usable if you want. And also a good thing about Emilie is that if the situation where multi-waves and the enemy is pretty weak or spongy, then Emilie can be a good option in here, just because we don't really have any off-fielder like Dendros, like sub DPS, that good at multi-waves. Nahida is not really good in multi-waves, although she is actually really good. So usually you can use like Kole at kind of Dendro Traveler. So another option, you can choose like Emilie, something like that. But again, it's only multi-wave that's spongy, usually kind of event that have things like that. As for the negative for Emilie, I don't think she has a major downside, but I just want to say in here right now, for the burning as a whole team, it still feels very like premature, very underutilized, mostly because literally character that made for burning only Kinich and literally Emilie. And yeah, you can say you can play with Arlecchino, like Mono Pyro and pair with Emilie, or you can play with Risley in the melt. But again, usually you just want to play just for the sake you want to use Emilie, then I don't know, you can just choose play like Arlecchino in Fape or even Risley without Emilie in the melt. So because of that, she just feels kinda, so yeah, because of that, it just makes Emilie kinda like whatever. Although she actually good, her personal damage is good, it's just like not so much exposure right now for the burning. So for sure in the future, if they make more like burning carry DPS, then Emilie will shine brighter, of course. Also, I want to clear some stuff, which is Emilie is no buffer. Don't expect her like as a buffer. She's more like a off-fielder that deal a good damage if you trigger burning reaction. So she is mostly good just because her damage is good when you are in the burning reaction. So don't expect her buffer like Escoffier. She's rather more like just a off-fielder, more like Dylan. And for my recommendation for you to pull for Emilie, which is first, maybe if you enjoy playing in Burning Reaction, then yeah, Emilie will help you a lot because she is really good in Burning. Her damage personally actually good. So if you maybe enjoy playing Burning, then pull for her. Second, if you have Kinish, then yeah, I really recommend for you to pull for Emilie because they will literally work together really well and your burning team will be super good. And third, maybe you still need a Dendro support or sub DPS. Maybe you don't have Nahida yet and you feel like it's already emergency, you already need it, then sure, I can say, although I don't think this is a big priority. And then lastly, of course, if you like the crowded gameplay, feel free to pull for her. For Emilie, should you pull for early Constellation or signature weapon? Actually, the C1 and signature weapon is actually both of them is equally good. But for me, I will still prefer to pull for her signature weapon just because in general, Emilie can struggle with the energy regeneration and her signature actually kinda solve that, like it gives you energy. So in general, it's not only good for increase her own personal damage, but also give energy, which is quality of life. So it's pretty much in general, it's a better, I think, pull for you. And last character, Mavuika. So Mavuika right now for me is one of the best DPS in Genshin Impact, and she of course worked the best in Melt team, especially if you have Citlali, Bennett, Yansan or Silonian. That's basically one of her best team, or at least the one that I really like right now and super good. And other than that, Mavuika is actually really good if you also like to see a big number. Right now, like she always did like above 1 million, sometimes can be 2 million. Quite still satisfying to see if you like to see a big nuke number at once. Arena 2, Mavuika can be useful as a sub DPS or even kinda support like sub DPS nuker in here. Let's say like in Kinich team, you can pair in Mualani, even in Chaska or Overload Fareza, you can pull basically Mavuika. So she actually quite versatile than you think than just like hyper carry, because her burst is actually still pretty much strong and the application also not bad and give couple buff. Also you can use scroll in there, so that's why in general she can be a quite good like sub DPS too. Also she's pretty good in overall exploration even outside Natlan, just because her motorbike you can just like jump, so it kinda give you quite good height also for you to go like quite distance of travel too in general, especially if you go C1 is even longer, and that's why it's pretty good. As for downside, I don't think she has a major downside, but there's still a couple of annoyance or like things highlight that I want to say in here, which is I think Mavuika because very relying on the big nuke from that burst. So if you let's say miss or even your hit from the burst is not melt, it can make the run kinda ruin a little bit, so it makes the run longer, and for me it's kinda annoying. And other stuff I want to say in here, if you really enjoy let's say like challenging content and want to a little bit suffer in like endgame content, then I can say pulling Mavuika can ruin maybe your experience, because she's actually quite branded, kinda cheating code, make it everything right now becomes so easy. Literally, how much you want to avoid, let's say like, oh yeah, just don't use Mavuika, but if the character there, I tend also to use it, and right now my brain's already kinda brain rot already. I keep using her, I already feel rely on her, and everything becomes so easy, everything just like milk. Yeah, so it maybe can ruin your enjoyment to play Genshin Impact if you like literally challenging content, because as per right now, like since I have Mavuika, I don't think I'm struggling anymore in Genshin. I think she's a little bit too branded. But in the end, I still have my recommendation for you to pull for Mavuika, which is first, if you have Citlali, then I really recommend for you to pull for Mavuika because it will make the whole game become very easy. Second, if you need one of the best like meta main DPS right now, then Mavuika is one of them aside Nebulette for me, or even Skirk. And third, if you like to see a big nuke number like in one screenshot, then Mavuika surely you will really like. You can easily see 1 million, even 2 millions though, so that's quite satisfying still for me to see. Next, maybe if you're a player that want an easy clear all the endgame content and make just like grand road easy to clear everything easily, then yeah, pull for Mavuika. Make everything easy, especially if you already have Citlali. So maybe new player, casual, that want an easy, like literally clearing all the content, Mavuika is the one I recommend. Next, if you need a good character also for exploration, Mavuika is also the one I recommend. She's pretty good, pretty nice in general for you to travel horizontal, even vertical, still pretty much quite good. Lastly, of course, if you like character than gameplay or even Archon Collector, then feel free to pull for Mavuika. For Mavuika, should you pull for early Constellation or signature weapon? For me, both of them, like C1 and signature weapon, is equally good. It just very depends on your preference. If you want aesthetic, then maybe pulling for signature weapon just because it has special effect. But if you care about mostly like exploration or like a team without like too much Natlan character, you want to be more flexible, than going for C1. Just because in here like you will get also more Nightfall point, which is good in exploration, and also getting fighting spirit 20% more like kinda easily. So good if you don't use too much like Natlan character. This is actually can help you. Also the damage increase is pretty good. So yeah, in general I think it's just very which one you prefer. If you prefer for exploration and using non-Natlan team, then C1 will be better. But if you care about literally aesthetic or fashion, I think signature weapon is better, because the damage increase in general is both of them is pretty much quite equal. But of course, if you decide to go C2, then C2 is much better than signature weapon already, because give you like base attack increase, literally decrease defense from the opponent, just literally buff even more the burst. This is actually really good Constellation. So if I want to rank, C2 is the best and C1 and signature weapon is about the same. And maybe some of you still confused, should you choose Mavuika or Skirk? Then for me, the easiest determinant, just see what you have in your team. Let's say you have Citlali, then I will lean toward to Mavuika, because Citlali with Mavuika is actually really good. It just like literally clear everything. But if you have Escovia, then I really recommend for you to just take Skirk, because Skirk in Escovia is truly really good. But if you don't have both Citlali or even Escovia, which one you should choose, then I will choose Mavuika, just because Mavuika in general, in terms of team building, it's much more flexible, or at least more diverse. You can just put, let's say like Kinich if you have, Faresa still can work, Chaska, Mualani, and even like other team is still pretty much better. Compare like Skirk without Escovia, I think it's much more punishing. The gap is a little bit too huge, although like I feel it's fine, but I think Mavuika without Citlali is much better than Skirk without Escovia. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you ask my verdict, I will choose Mavuika. I know like Skirk is actually as good as Mavuika, but the problem is that Skirk is a little bit too strict compared to Mavuika. Mavuika at least feels a little bit more flexible, and other than that, Mavuika in terms of gameplay is quite branded, literally burst, and that's the most important thing that you need to care. While Skirk, you kind of need to taking care about the combo, so it's a little bit need more effort. But in the end of the day, both of them is equally good, but I just prefer Mavuika just because she feels easier and more branded to clear all the content. So yeah, if you like this video, feel free to hit the subscribe button and like, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.